During the Meiji Restoration, the samurai, once symbols of Japan, were forcibly stripped of their positions by the government and made to vanish. Behind this lay the government's brutally pragmatic rationalism. In the early Meiji era, the number of samurai was about 400,000, and including their families, they comprised roughly 10% of the total population. Many of them lost their jobs and pride, ending up on the streets. Yet, in fact, an even more astonishing truth was hidden beneath this. The samurai didn't merely vanish. They also transformed, becoming pillars that supported Japan's modernization. What truly was the samurai? In this video, you will discover why the samurai class disappeared, what became of them afterwards, and how the spirit of Bushido endured in Japan. Now, let's delve into that truth. In the main segment, we will also thoroughly explain the new government-specific policies and the fierce realities faced by the unemployed samurai. In the late Edo period, the arrival of the black ships forced Japan to open its ports, deeply shaking the nation with debates over expulsion of foreigners or opening. The world of the samurai, which had lasted for about 260 years, began to show signs of its end. To overthrow the archaic shogunate and build a new nation, the Satsuma and Choshu domains rallied together. They championed the emperor, setting in motion the end of the samurai era. In 1867, Tokugawa Yoshinobu performed Taisei Hoken, returning political power to the emperor. Following this, the proclamation of the restoration of imperial rule was issued, declaring the establishment of a new government. The former shogunate forces resisted but were decisively defeated by the new government army in the Boshin War. Starting with the Battle of Toba-Fushimi, the conflict, lasting approximately 2 years, ended in victory for the new government. The new government first enforced Hanseki Hoken, the return of domain registers. This was a move where domain lords nominally returned their lands and people to the emperor. However, it was largely a formality with little change in actual power. However, the new government was not satisfied. In 1871, they finally enforced Heihanshiken, the abolition of domains and establishment of prefectures. This reorganized all domains nationwide into prefectures. Former domain lords were ordered to move to Tokyo, and their status became that of mere governors. In just a few months, approximately 260 domains vanished. The ruling structure of the samurai class was fundamentally overturned, and they transformed into mere recipients of stipends. With the dissolution of the domain system, their employers also disappeared. Furthermore, the new government fixed the samurai status as shizoku, former samurai class, and reduced their stipends. Their status as a privileged class diminished, and their livelihoods began to be threatened. The kakadaka, rice stipends, that supported the samurai's lives were converted to cash salaries, but the amount was far too meager. So why did the new government push the samurai to such an extreme? The new government was rushing to build a modern nation under the slogan of rich nation, strong army. But its finances were always in dire straits. Payments to the samurai were a particular burden. Astonishingly, samurai stipends accounted for approximately 30% of the new government's total annual expenditure. At this rate, national finances were at risk of collapse, let alone modernization. Therefore, in 1876, the new government enforced Chitsuroku Shoban, the abolition of samurai stipends. They introduced a policy to completely abolish stipends for samurai, issuing Kinraku Kosei Shasho, commutation bonds, in their place. These commutation bonds were issued for several years' worth of annual income. However, with low interest rates and meager returns, many shizoku quickly exhausted their funds and fell into hardship. A minor but poignant detail: many shizoku mortgaged their commutation bonds for loans to survive, only to sink deeper into poverty. They were also unaccustomed to commerce or farming. Then came the decisive turning point for samurai, the Heitoriai, sword abolishment edict, issued in 1876. This was an act of stripping away the samurai's very soul. They were forbidden from wearing their swords, which were symbols of their status and pride. For them, this was a psychological blow far greater than losing their jobs. Many samurai despaired, some even losing their will to live. Their identity was intertwined with their swords. Among the increasingly impoverished Shizoku, some even resorted to selling their heirloom swords to make ends meet. The samurai, stripped of their swords and economic foundation. So, how did these cornered warriors react to this situation? Dissatisfaction was on the verge of explosion due to the new government's radical reforms and cold treatment of the Shizoku. Rebellions by former samurai erupted across the country. In 1874, Edo Shinpei raised the banner of Seikenran, argument for conquering Korea, in Saga, leading Shizoku in rebellion. This was the first major revolt against the new government. Furthermore, in 1876, the Shinpirin Rebellion occurred in Kumamoto, where former Shizoku, rebelling against westernization, attacked government officials. They fought with swords and flintlock rifles. Other Shizoku rebellions, such as the Akazuki Rebellion and the Hagi Rebellion, also occurred around the same time. This indicated that the dissatisfaction of the former samurai had reached its peak. A small but notable detail: these rebellions were suppressed in just a few days, exposing the limits of the former samurai's organizational power. Their strength was no longer a match for the new government army. And the greatest rebellion was the Satsuma Rebellion, which occurred in 1877. Former Shizoku, led by Seigo Takamori, rose in Kagoshima, escalating into Japan's last civil war. In response, the new government dispatched its national army, conscripted through a new system. It was a battle that truly marked a turning point in history, with a samurai-led army clashing against a citizen-led army. After fierce fighting, Seigo's army was defeated. Seigo Takamori committed seppuku, marking the end of large-scale armed resistance by samurai. Here, the age of the samurai definitively closed. The suppression of the Shizoku rebellions signified the complete demise of the samurai class. They no longer possessed the means to survive in the old ways. So, how did the many unemployed samurai integrate into the new society afterwards? Some talented former samurai took on roles supporting the new Japan, becoming bureaucrats, police officers, or soldiers in the newly established military. Notably, many former shogunate retainers dedicated themselves to establishing the Tokyo Metropolitan Police Department, laying the foundation for public order in Japan. They offered their skills and loyalty to the new government. Others chose the path of educators, teaching children literacy and Bushido. Their spirit was passed down to the next generation. However, many Shizoku faced economic hardship, and to aid them, the new government promoted pioneering enterprises known as Shizoku Juzen, former samurai livelihood projects. A small but impactful fact: many former samurai were particularly involved in the development of Hokkaido, demonstrating their frontier spirit in harsh natural environments to open up new lands. Not a few also transitioned into commerce or agriculture, but having only samurai experience, they struggled with unfamiliar work, and many fell into decline. Yet, even though the samurai class disappeared, its Bushido spirit transformed and survived as a cornerstone of the Japanese national character. Inatsu Naito's work, Bushido, the Soul of Japan, was translated overseas and profoundly influenced the world as a representation of the Japanese spirit. Bushido virtues such as honorable poverty, frugality, loyalty, and honor became widely ingrained as national virtues in modern Japan after the Meiji era. Though the samurai as a class vanished from history, their spirit transformed, supported Japan's modernization, and continues to be deeply inherited by modern Japanese people. Why did the samurai class disappear? It was the result of the new government's thorough elimination of old feudal classes to build a modern nation-state. What became of them afterwards? Some held important positions in the new government, many struggled at the bottom of society, or displayed a pioneering spirit as settlers. How did the spirit of Bushido endure in Japan? It was passed down to many Japanese through education and thought as a moral and spiritual standard. The samurai did not vanish but transformed, contributing to Japan's modernization, and their spirit lives on even today. Their journey, losing their identity in a tumultuous era yet continuously seeking new paths, may offer many insights to us living in the present day.